Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Talking Cryptocurrency podcast. I'm your host, Jason Rigden. On this episode of the show, we are talking to Normunds Vucans of Tixico. They're building a blockchain that will change the way we buy, sell, and use event tickets. But before we get into the interview, I've got this quick message. I really hope you like this show. I put a lot of work into it. If you do like it, would you please consider doing something for me? Give me a review on Apple Podcasts. Now, if you're a hardcore podcast listener, you are probably sick of hearing this. Every show begs for reviews, and it's a little annoying. But it does make a big difference. Those reviews help people decide to subscribe. They help guests choose which shows to go on. Those ratings and reviews for the shows are a direct way you can help this show grow. So, if you like this show and you want more, please help me. Take the time and give the show a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or iTunes, or whatever they're calling it now. Hello, and today I am with Normunds Vucans of Tixico. How are you today?
Very fine, thanks. And you?
I'm doing really great. So could you tell me a little bit about the problem you're trying to solve here?
So Tixico is tackling the ticketing industry and ticketing market, and the main problem that we are seeing with the ticketing market ourselves is the secondary market, where there are lots and lots of ticket scalpers. Even if you would like to attend the event, there is no guarantee that you will be able to do it, or you'll have to pay like 10 times or even more than that for the ticket that you really want, because bots already have bought it before you. And even if you are willing to spend that much money, there's no guarantee that you'll get in, because there's very high probability that actually the ticket already will be faked, because it's nowadays very easy to do so. You just simply print out the PDF numerous times and there you have it. And by placing ticketing industry on the blockchain, it eliminates all of those problems, and also it enables lots of other opportunities for both event organizers as well as attendees to improve their overall experience when they are at the events.
Okay, so how exactly are you solving this problem?
Well, as I mentioned, because of the blockchain technology, we are able to eliminate ticket scalpers, for example, regarding that problem. And in there are many different ways. You, as an event organizer, you can set up various limits. For example, how many tickets can be purchased by one account, or how many tickets can be paid by from one bank account. But even if that doesn't help, you can set up various limits for the secondary market and thus eliminate the interest of ticket scalpers participating in there. So, for example, you have the possibility to say, let's say the ticket costs $20, and you can set limits you can sell it on the secondary market anywhere between $15 to $25, no less or no more than that. Or even if you want to eliminate the interest of anyone selling tickets on secondary market at all, you can simply say like, hey, if the ticket costs $20, then that's that you can sell it for on secondary market, and that's it. No other opportunities.
Okay, so you could just actually have a rule basically that would say you can only sell it for face value.
Yeah, exactly. So you can set up various rules like that, and in that way help secure the ticketing industry. Another big problem that we are seeing ourselves, like speaking with some smaller event organizers who are doing either that would be like improvisation shows or like theater plays or even smaller concerts. Quite often you are not sure whether the things that you are willing to organize and want to do, whether they'll bring you money or they will bring you a loss. And in order to avoid that, we have created a unique thing for Tixico that is the crowdfunding system. And in that crowdfunding system, it works in two ways. One is similar to a ticket pre-sale, where you can say like, hey, for example, in order for this event to happen, so I don't lose any money, I need to sell 20 tickets. If I do that, event happens. If I don't do that, then everyone gets refunds and everyone's happy. Or the other way is that, let's say for the same concert, you would need to pay the artists for various things like $100. I very much believe in those artists. I really want the event to happen, so I can put it in there. And if the event actually happens and it's profitable, then I get part of the revenue back as my return on my investment.
Oh, that's cool. And so what blockchain are you using right now? Are you using one of the existing ones?
Yes. So initially we were planning to use Ethereum, which seemed to make the most sense there. We started to develop our demo on Ethereum, but approximately a month ago, we switched to EOS because we found out that Ethereum had some problems with scalability and some other issues, while EOS was, in our opinion, the perfect blockchain for the things that we are trying to do and things that we are trying to solve. So that was the blockchain that we were using for our first pilot project, and that we will be using going on forward.
Okay. And how does transaction time affect you?
So with the US so far, at least with the limits and with the tests we have had so far, we haven't had real issues with that, because on our end, we also needed to implement payment providers and other institutions. So I would say that those are actually a bit slower than the transaction time on the blockchain itself. With Ethereum, that would be a very major issue. That was one of the two biggest issues why we actually switched. The other one being the high gas costs. But on EOS, I would say that it's so far looking so good. And I believe in, as a CEO, I'm not that technical myself, but I believe in my tech guys that we will be able to find a solution to other things as well. At least that's what I'm hearing, and I believe in them and their ability to do everything as we are planning.
Okay. And so smaller venues, like is there like kind of a lower limit of how much money you can kickstart, or maybe not kickstart, try to raise for your event?
No, not necessarily. It's not the fact that we will be putting any like limits on that. Of course, it should be reasonable, and there will anyways be like different mechanisms how we can make sure that someone is not making something fake, and then running away with all of the money. But the reason why I mentioned smaller venues and smaller events is just solely on the fact that they are the ones that are usually most affected by this problem. If you have, I don't know, like if you want to do some huge concert or want to organize some big sports events and you are able to actually pull it off, then hey, you can use the crowdfunding system. But in most cases, for those sort of organizers, they already have their own sponsors and everything else in line to have it like as you would like to have it.
Yeah, and gathering the money to, if you're a small person or doing like a small concert, gathering the money just to rent the venue can be prohibitory. So if you can get people to pitch in beforehand, or at least assure you that they will buy a ticket, it'll help you quite a bit.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing with all those, because if you are a bigger event organizer and you host something that loses like even thousands or tens of thousands of dollars, most likely you are able to bounce back because you have lots of other projects, that can cover for it up. And if you are, I don't know, like even if you or me would like to host some smaller concert, we would have to pay like $1,000 or a couple of $1,000 from our own pockets. That would make way bigger difference than it does for them,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I imagine a lot of bigger artists would really like it too, because I know a lot of them are very frustrated with that secondary market where, they know that their fans can't really go to the show because there's a secondary market that's charging like 2, 3, 4, 5 times the base value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Because like for the biggest events that you can see happening, either it would be in London, like Wembley Stadium, or in New York, like something like Madison Square Garden or something else. In fact, for the most in-demand events, from time to time, you can see that up to 70% of all of the ticket sales are happening in secondary markets. So basically like 7 out of 10 people are selling their tickets, or I don't know, like one person is selling them out of those 10, but they are getting sold numerous times. You cannot follow that really, and you don't know like who is organizing who. And that's the reason you can recently hear quite a lot of artists complaining about that. I know there was a case around a month and a half ago, actually, with Ed Sheeran, who canceled lots and lots of, I believe there was tens of thousands of tickets for the known ticket scalpers who bought them online. And they just refunded them and told, no, we don't want to sell you the tickets. Or on the other hand, there is the case with LCD Sound System, a New York-based band. In 2011, I believe they were splitting up. So they announced last shows in Madison Square Garden. They got sold out. Tickets went up. Their face value was around $30 or approximately something like that. And the tickets went for even thousands of dollars. And in that case, the band even made another concert in a very small venue in Brooklyn. If you wanted to go there, you had to sign up, show the ID on the entrance, and there you was only able to pay the fee and go to see the concert. So there are many of those cases, and of course, everyone wants and needs to fight them. And also another important issue in there is for organizers as such. For example, for the bigger music festivals or for sports teams, lots of tickets get passed on the secondary market. And what happens now? Only benefiters on the secondary market are both the scalpers and the marketplace owners. But now with Tixico, there will be a possibility for organizers to say like, hey, every ticket that gets sold in the secondary market, for example, 1% or some sort other of percentage goes back to my income. So they can also benefit from that.
And using the blockchain, I imagine you'd kind of be able to fight the counterfeiting of tickets.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, that I didn't mention. Very nice that you brought it up. But yeah, of course, that also helps, and that's the main reason for the blockchain, because it gives transparency and visibility to everything that happens from the crowdfunding and also to the ticketing part. Because yeah, now especially on the secondary market, as we mentioned previously, there are lots and lots of fake tickets. Actually, like 1 in every 3 tickets on the secondary market usually is fake, and so this is a great way to fight it.
Oh, very good. So what have been some of the challenges of solving this problem?
As I already mentioned, there were some problems with the initial use of blockchain, because we are not the first company to try to tackle this market. I still believe that there is room for quite a few ticketing companies on the blockchain, and no one has really gone to the market properly. And that was the problem with the ones who were doing it on Ethereum, that there are high gas costs, that especially is hard when you have like smaller events or smaller venues. If you would line up, I don't know, with some cinema, for example, lots of the ticket value actually would be going on the gas costs alone, and the same thing goes for the speed. So those are the two main issues that we are tackling at the moment. Hopefully, very fine, because the first pilot project that we had already last week, that went very, very nicely, and we believe that it can continue like that. And the other part is that it's a little bit difficult to get in the ticketing market, especially when you are competing with the already known brands, because in sports markets and other places where the most ticket sales are made from the website of the company or of the team or whatever, that doesn't matter that much, because you can, if you have a good product and they trust you, and you have all the issues regarding that solved. But for example, in music business, where lots and lots of tickets get sold on the third-party apps or websites of those ticketing operators, they very much need the trustability, and they need a big network of delivery, and that's something that we need to tackle also to attract those sort of companies.
So in the actual real world where people are taking the tickets, a ticket taker, will they have like an app that'll scan something, or how will that actually work?
Yeah, so for the regular user, we know that the adoption of blockchain is a little bit difficult, and if you want to see your local sports team competing, you don't really want to get involved in that. So after speaking to our partners, we have decided that for you as a user, you go to the website, you purchase a ticket with your dollars, euros, whatever else currency you are using, and you receive the ticket. At the same time, it gets placed on blockchain, so you have all of those benefits. And yeah, once you are going to the venue, there are two possible options that we are offering at the moment for our clients. One is scanning by special app that is created on top of our app. It's for organizers, and there you can have it as a QR code reader or something similar to that. I don't know how to call it properly, like in the tech language. Sorry about that. But yeah, so you can basically scan the ticket from your phone or from the phones that are already there, so it doesn't bring any extra cost for the event organizers. Or the other option, if you don't want to do that and if you want to make the process faster, so in our app you receive the tickets, and there you can swipe it, enter a special code that you have as an organizer, and then you can validate the ticket in that way.
Wow. Okay. So what are some of your plans for the future going forward?
So at the moment we are working hard on securing some new partnerships and continuing our pilot project. So far, we have 7 companies lined up to use us in 2019 when we are fully released. So that is something that we are working very hard on. We had previously announced that we wanted to do the private sale, but with the change of blockchain, we postponed it, and now we will soon announce the new date of the private sale that will start. I can already tell that in mid-August. So there will be a possibility to participate in that. And afterwards, I will be happy to announce some new partnerships, most likely in August, and then show where we are moving forward. At the moment, I can say that we are mostly moving in terms of esports and sports businesses, because those are the ones who are actually most interested in ticketing on blockchain.
Yeah, totally. So is there anything that I should have asked you that maybe I missed?
I think you covered the most of the basics very well, because I think it's always interesting to see all the apps that are being developed on blockchain that are similar to the things that we already are used to having, like in terms of it would be ticketing app or whatever else, because the basic principles of it working, and then you hear the benefits that the blockchain brings to that, and that's very easy. It's easy to understand, how it can affect, and easy to understand also the reasons why it would be needed. And thus, I think it's a little bit of opportunity and also a challenge in terms of us marketing ourselves, because in the blockchain space, there are lots of people who are waiting for something new, exciting, very disruptive. Well, we are kind of doing that, but at the same time, not doing that much, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very practical and understandable. I mean, you could explain this system pretty much to anybody, where some of these very out there companies, it takes quite a while just to explain how they're going to make money.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing that we have also seen when we have been attending expos and other places where we have been speaking both to investors and also like enthusiasts of crypto world and blockchain in general. And you can hear those sort of opinions quite often. But we are hoping to soon also resume our US roadshow. We have been planning to start it at September. So, late August. So I hope to meet some of you guys in there. Most likely we will start with one of the events in August in Vegas. So if any of the listeners are there, I will be happy to have a talk, or at any other time if you just simply message us. It's always nice to hear some feedback from the users who actually will be the ones that will be using Tixico.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was a great pleasure to speak to you.
Thanks, Normunds, for coming on the show. If you want to learn more about Tixico, check out the show notes. I've got all the links right down there. You've been listening to the Talking Cryptocurrency podcast. My name is Jason Rigden, and I have been your host. Thanks for listening to the show. If you liked it, would you please consider giving us a rating and a review on iTunes? I look forward to talking to you again soon. Have a great day.